and welcome to our vlog.
It's Tally and Trina.
Last week, we kind of made a little story about how we accidentally became firefighters. And this week, we wanted to kind of tell you guys our experience with that.
The story continues.
Oh, that's what I wanted to start the vlog with. Okay, so guys, before we go into that, look at his head. Like, I don't know how this man is still dating me, but look down. It's like, but it looks really good on the front. I'm gonna fix it afterwards. I cut his hair when I was hungry, and it's fine. He fed me, and now we're good.
Yeah.
So firefighting.
So yeah, this time we showed up and we were all geared up, and we pretty much got thrown right into the front line, just a small little fire, and started digging hand lines around it on an old skid road. And
when he says digging hand lines, he means that when they point at a point in the dirt and they say dig, you are there just, so it's a thing called a McLeod, and it's basically flat on one side and then it's like, you know, metal rake on the other, and you're sitting there and first you're raking leaves, and then you're raking dirt, and you're raking more dirt, and then you're raking more dirt for as long as they tell you to. Because basically it just makes a dirt line that once the fire gets down to it, it just stops and sizzles out because it has nothing left to burn.
I think we only made it like 150 feet long or so, but it was like exhausting. Got blisters and the whole nine. So while we were digging hand lines, we got a call over the radio that we needed to go put out a grass fire that was going close to a snag that was gonna fall close to the road.
Oh yeah.
So we drove the big truck. Well, we got a ride. We got a ride in the big truck down the hill a little bit to be able to put out the grass fire before it reached the snag.
We both got to spray the hoses at the fire that was right there, and I remember it was our first day, and so we're both just like adrenaline pumping, everything. We're like, yeah, we're spraying this fire, and like everybody else that was there was like, yeah, you can spray it. Like they're just so chill at this point. They're like, yeah, it's coming at us, it's fine. And Tally and I are just like, okay, like we'll get the hoses, we'll do this. We'll like, it was so funny.
Super pumped.
So pumped. Like just adrenaline going.
They had already been there for I think 9 days at that point.
Yeah.
Every day, like over 10-hour days. And we were on like what, day 2?
Yeah.
Like a couple hours in, so we still had some energy to dispense.
Which I'm sure that they appreciated because, you know, as we're going along, we're just like, I remember part of my job that day was to literally just walk up and down this fire line, like even the parts we had like dug the hand line and then going all the way back down, and my job was literally to just radio in and just say, hey, there's this random spot fire over here that nobody knows about, come put it out. And I remember I think it was our second day I was there, and I just like looked kind of off into the distance and I was like, hey, how tall are we supposed to let you know if it's like getting out of hand? He's like, oh, like a little bit more than like, you know, 10 feet. And I was like, okay, it's definitely more than 10 feet. And everyone like rushes over there and they're like, okay. Start like, you know, getting all the hoses out and like putting down this fire. And I remember I was talking to Tally, and so we have, you know, like okay, story time. So I had my belt, right? And I'm just like, had my little like GoPro thing on there. So as we're like walking and stuff, I would just like click, and like it would just start recording. So sorry in advance for all the like super shaky videos, but it was convenient because then if like anything was like going on, I could just, you know, click and then still be like doing stuff with my hands and still trying to get some recording. But it was so annoying. This whole day I was trying so hard to get recordings of these trees that were falling. There was trees falling left and right. Like sometimes you could see them and other times you couldn't, and you would just out of nowhere just like and like everyone was silent.
Ground shake, everybody stops what they're doing, looks up, makes sure that they're not in the way of these snags falling.
You know,
it's crazy.
Yeah, because like the entire time, whatever you're doing what you're doing, but you're also constantly looking up in the trees, making sure that there's no debris flying over your head going into the green trees across the road. Like it was just so much
hypervigilance.
Hypervigilance. That's a good word.
That's the fancy word for it.
So one of the professional firefighters kept coming up the hill to check on us, make sure we're doing everything correctly, and we just started talking to him, and he starts telling us about the drone that he flies. And we're not talking about just like a little tiny drone, like this thing.
No, we're talking about like a 6 propeller, like big drone.
Pushing it all that way.
Yeah.
Don't risk your life.
No.
Yeah.
We're a drone team.
Oh, that's
we have
awesome.
A drone and we fly this all the time, so we know.
We were just talking about that.
So cool.
So awesome.
So after we were kind of done talking to him, everything just was just kind of chill. Like, I mean, the fire was like right up next to the road, but by the end of the day, you're just like, yeah, it's gonna burn, it's fine. It's like dying down.
That was something that I loved, like the amount of adrenaline that we had when we first showed up. Like seeing the fire like a couple hundred feet away, and we were like all pumped, like running like hard. And then by the end of that day, we were like, yep. And we were like,
there's another fire.
Yeah, we're like.
So the next morning, we came back, and apparently the little tiny fire that was kind of starting to sizzle out had gotten a huge gust of wind that just oxygenated all of the flames and just flared up like crazy. And so when we got there, it was like go mode that day. It was kind of back to being super intense.
Yeah. There was a lot of things to do, a lot of hand line to dig, a lot of trees up a little bit higher that we needed to be able to put out. Since it was getting closer to the road, we laid out a bunch of hose and we got it all prepped. While we were waiting, the actual career firefighters showed up and started back burning right from where we were standing right up to the snags.
It was such a crazy experience.
Yeah, they like asked us if they could use all of our line, and it's like, yeah, of course, like use all our hoses, use all our nozzles. They used all of our stuff that we had already laid out, which was like perfect. That's what we needed them to do, and they started taking care of it. But they were really concerned about those snags too, so it was just waiting for them to take down. They were so excited. There was a couple of them who set their phones up because they've been trying to
on a time lapse.
Yeah, on a time lapse, trying to capture the trees falling on the time lapse, and she's trying to catch the trees falling on the GoPro.
I stood there for over an hour and a half, just like standing, and I would like, nope, okay, we're gonna stop that recording, start a new recording.
And they literally had their phone sitting on the truck, like balanced on some gloves, doing a time lapse so that they could get a video of the tree falling. And it never happened. They went off shift before the trees fell. We went off shift before the trees finally fell, and find out later that the night shift came in. The night firefighters came in.
Like past midnight.
Yeah, like 1:30 in the morning. They ended up cutting the trees down, like that are flaming still, but they were able to cut them into the fire so they didn't cross the road. Like crazy. I don't even know how they were able to do that. I wish I would have been able to be there.
And I just have to say that was such a cool experience to be able to like sit there and talk to the true firefighters that are like getting paid for this, that have been doing this for months on end. And they were just so chill, like kind of how Tally and I were talking about earlier, how after a while you're just like, oh yeah, that's a fire that's getting closer. They were just like, just so chill. Like this dude is just so chill. And we're over here like fangirls, like, oh my god, he's talking to us. it was
She was.
I was. I love you. So before we left that night, so the career firefighters, they just left, and we were just still just kind of sitting there waiting and just like watching the snags, and all of a sudden drama just lets loose. So our head guy, his name is Marshall, our head guy radios us, and he's like, what's your position right now?
Hey, Tally and Trina, if you could start packing up and getting out of here. It is kind of getting on the road.
10-4, I'm at the truck about to shut it off, and it's just finished filling right now.
It's going to be a mess. So, because they might not be able to get crews in here in the morning to even assess what's going on.
Trina, come down to the big truck.
So we radioed him, we're like, hey, one of our guys are still here, they're up the road a little ways. And he was like, what? And all of a sudden, just like on our radios, it was like, just like, get the fire truck here, put it across the white bridge, and like tell this other guy to like get out, da, 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 da. And it's just like yelling through these radios, like the entire time we're still listening on the radio to see if the other guy's getting the signals and getting out. And we get in our car and we just take off. And as we're driving, even like a tree falls next to us on the other side of the road, and we're just like, it's fine. Like just getting out of there. And so we waited at the bottom of the hill for like 20 minutes just waiting and waiting on the radio, and we still didn't hear him. And so we got down into the city and just waited. And just waited for a phone call, for a text, anything that the other guy got out. And he did.
Yep.
Which is that like...
Yep, he did what he needed to do and was able to get out, but it was very, very intense.
I felt like a mom for the day. I was like, okay kids, are we out? Let's get out.
So after all that excitement at night, I spit, I want to say that again. I saw it, I don't know if it saw it.
No, you're okay.
So when we were headed out there, we got almost all the way there, and right when the road turns to dirt road, we got stopped by a couple firefighters, and they were saying that we probably wouldn't be able to go up there because there was a bunch of fallers following all the snags before they caught fire, like kind of as a preemptive. And so he said, yeah, you're not going to be able to get past because they're falling trees. And I said, well, we were called to go help. Like, we need to be there.
So we get there, and the entire drive up to where we've been working the past few days, like on a couple acres, the whole drive up there, it's all either burnt or still burning. And so even though it's been, you know, like relatively like a super smoky drive up to where we were, this time is literally like you're just driving right next to the fire. The entire like 10-minute drive up this like dirt road.
All dark and smoldering, and some flames, and some little trees on fire. And
even though that was kind of the day that we saw the most flames, it was honestly the most chill day, because we're literally like, we were posted along the road. Like they would like go every, you know, like couple minutes and just say, okay, get out, just radio us if you need anything. Yep. And so we're literally just kind of just like watching this mountain waiting. Burn.
They did another back burn along another section that got pretty exciting, and just made a lot of noise, because I guess some of the pine trees, when they light up, they make a bunch of noise. Yeah, they like. So we protected one of those because it was right next to the road. We didn't really want all those pine needles to ignite. But she's never got to use a Pulaski, so she got to use the Pulaski this time. Yeah, not to like brag or nothing, but I hit a branch. Yep, so we protected that tree.
Do you remember the wood rat?
Oh yeah.
We got to see this huge rat. Literally, this is like a little squeaker, okay? And he just like out of nowhere, like we're watching, we're like, bro, your feet are on fire. And he just like trying to figure out how to get out of there.
Yep.
But yeah.
Sad face.
Sad face. Oh, really quick. I just wanted to say thank you not only to the firefighters, but to all of the amazing people that were making us food.
Oh, yeah.
Honestly, so every single day that we were out there that you could get past the blockades and stuff at the bottom of the hill, literally, like, people would just drive up and just be like, thank you so much. And they would just drop off, like,
a whole box of food. Really tried to take care of everybody that was volunteering and the firefighters.
So for people who are, like, looking for things to do, you don't have to necessarily be a firefighter to be helping out in these situations. People like that, just thank you so much, because I didn't realize how much you have to eat. Like, I feel like I ate a lot of food. But, like, that week, we were just, like,
You're just going through so many calories. You're just working so hard. So, like, it totally makes sense, but... Wow, without having food delivered, that was pretty cool. Yeah. That was pretty good. So thank you.
So thank you, firefighters. Thank you, amazing people making all the food for the firefighters out there.
Thank you, all the volunteers that are putting that on, and the volunteer firefighters, and the firefighters, and like everybody.
Yep.
Takes a team. Next
week, we are going to be doing a video about a hike in the area. Comment down below which kind of hike you want to see. We're probably going to be doing Mill Creek Falls, or you know, someplace that is not on fire currently. Down in our bio, we have all of our Instagrams. We finally made an Instagram for our account.
Yep.
So go ahead and make sure to follow that, and we will be posting everything about new videos coming up and all of our adventures. So awesome. Thanks for watching, guys. Day 3. You know what I brought? I'm so sorry, my nails. I did love you though. This hurts my soul. This hurts. One done. Before and after. Baby, like my nails?